so moved by the soulfulness that the Johnsons bring to our heart. And to come from this place of soulfulness and willingness. And it's so great to be living a life on purpose. It's so beautiful to be of service to our world. And so as we know, we're in this place that there's nothing better than living what our soul's purpose is. We have our theme of the month of being in the flow of spirit and being in selfless service. And our theme of the month is highlighted with the graduation of the teens, youth, and teen young adult foundations class, where they now know how to accept compliments. And as we look at that in our own hearts, that how we accept compliments and give thanks. And the teens who also said, you know, I wasn't thinking of staying on the planet, and now I'm thinking of hanging around because there's people here who love and support me. And to have made that place, and just Reverend Martha Quintana and the Rio Grande Center and I just did this as an altruistic place where the teens could have a space to grow and talk about relationships, much like Don said, it's about relationships and about being engaged. So there's a dozen new teens who are engaged at a higher level. And it's amazing that they can now be of acceptance. I want to thank Elizabeth Summers, too, for holding the consciousness in that, and also for Spires. So it's a tremendous place. And now they are off to camp, and they'll be coming home next Sunday and sharing, bringing that home, bringing that energy home. So I'm very, very grateful. There's so many leaders, and we are that. We are at this community. Each and every one of us has that wise heart, that spirit of the heart. And much like Mahatma Gandhi, when he led a walk from India to the ocean, when the British had denied them salt, they said that you just cannot make salt. And they needed it for their food. What he did was he led a march about 200 to 300 miles to the ocean. And he made a statement. He didn't need to go beyond that. He just made a statement by being and bringing people along with him and saying, come, take this walk. And much like Nelson Mandela, who led his walk of peace as well, and much like Martin Luther King, who rallied and came up with a majority of people for justice and for those human rights, and to be an advocate for that which was true and good, before cell phones, before email, they were able to rally up what was inside of them, what they felt to be the truth. So as we lead ourselves in our own life, what I know is we have this wisdom that guides us. So we have this wisdom that strengthens us. We have this knowingness that comes from this place which is deeper than the core of our soul. And a friend of mine gave a cell phone app, and I almost wanted to throw away my cell phone because it's called Bodycott. And what it does, it's a free app, and it tells me when I go and I look at a pen shampoo and I can scan it in, and it says that those folks may be participating in something that I may not want to participate in. I almost want to check my phone. And sometimes ignorance is a way to go because I wouldn't be aware of that had I not had this free app on my phone. But yes, I can make a difference. I can take a stand even by going to whatever that store is down the street and use this app. And it's so funny because I really do. I want to check my phone. It's like, wow, do I want to participate in that, or do I want to participate in something else? So we can participate on that level because, again, we're activating whatever the spirit is and participating, activating and participating. So we're already in spiritual practice. And Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Nobel Prize awardee, much like the three gentlemen I just mentioned, we have a slide that talks about spiritual practice, which, as Norman talked about, says in all that we think and all that we say and all that we do, we have this conscious place of awareness. And to come from this place of awareness and know that there is a place where we can walk from doing, in essence, doing to being, I can be a stand for what works and what doesn't work. And I can move from attachment to non-attachment. And I can move from whatever obligation to love is. I can move from that obligation where it may feel very heavy into love. And I can also move into whatever I want to be engaged in from duality back into oneness, which is my state in spiritual practice. So Thich Nhat Hanh says more about in all that we think and say that we do, is that spiritual practice is not just sitting and meditating. Practice is looking, thinking, touching, drinking, eating, and talking. Every act, every breath, and every step can be practice and help us to become more ourselves. And isn't that what we're about? We're becoming more of ourselves. We're becoming that prayer. We're becoming that song. We're becoming that advocate for something and to be against nothing, much like our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, called us to be in his sermon by the sea, which was one of his last talks at a Silmar, to be for something and against nothing. And so rather than sitting along the sidelines, we can take that stand, or we can take that walk and be a part of that energy which truly makes a difference. So I was at Cottonwood Mall. What is it? Think global and act global. So I was there, and people were getting their noodles, and so I'm at the food court, and people were all just getting their noodles, and there were 2 lines. And I just happened to be in this fast line. And it was kind of like this, efficiency line. And it was just very efficient, and it was very unfriendly. And then here's this other line, and it's kind of jovial, and people are very happy, and just having a great time. And the server was just like taking time to connect. It's about relationship. And I was just noticing the joy in this other line. And it's like, well, hey, I want to be over there. I'm not here about being over here. And there was even the guy behind me, he said something like, get a move on. But it was something else, I won't tell you what he really said. So I was just happy about looking at the jovial people and noticing who was getting a move on with their joy. Who was getting their joy on in this spiritual path. And so as we move from doing and being, and we're in this place where we can say, never move faster than the speed of love. Because as we're being this, we can take time and we can smell the noodle, smell the roses. We can add whatever that spice is, and it may take a little time to percolate to have that fine brew that wants to come through. And much like the World Cup, as we watch I've been watching a little bit of the World Cup, and we can cheer on whoever our favorite team is. We can cheer on all those aspects of that whole team. And together, we as a community here are being that cheerleader in essence of our own life, and moving at our own pace, moving with our own vision. And so much like Norman has a vision, to support him in that vision, and to know that we have this loving community and to be in support of that. And another way to have this approach be even more powerful in our life is to move from being attached to non-attached. And much like the Dorothy Fields song, she says that we can pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and start all over again. We can keep going. We can get going. We can get on our pathway that we're meant to be living on purpose. So what I know, and I'll paraphrase this, that those who are most beloved by me are neither lifted up by praise or smashed down by criticism. There's a middle road that we can, in essence, move along this path and have that, in essence, vision that pulls us. And we'll be in spiritual practice and visioning even more throughout the month because we can be pulled by that. And much like the Bhagavad Gita says, when Lord Krishna, the hero who was talking with the hero Arjuna, he says, engage yourself in selfless service. Engage, and to not be distracted or to not be downtrodden by whatever may be those distractions. Maybe that cell phone, whatever, reading that barcode, maybe we can use that in a positive way, or it could be a distraction to whatever we want to advocate and engage in life. So The message here is to engage ourselves in selfless practice of all around us. And it's not that we come to something where we need something. We need to have a need that needs to be met. But what we offer is that fulfillment that we already have. We offer that gift. We offer that prayer. We offer that song that's already part of who we are. So we can also move from obligation to love. We can offer ourselves from a sense of, instead of, all these have-tos that we have in our life, we can identify with the oneness that in essence draws us forward. So not only are we moving from being to doing, but we're moving from non-attachment, or from attachment to non-attachment. We can also move toward love. Follow the love. Follow where that love is that we're bringing forward. I had done, it wasn't until I had done a memorial when I became a minister in the late 80s that I had to bury a friend. My first memorial, I had to bury a friend. And to be called to do that in the midst of whatever pain I was experiencing or whatever distractions I had, to really step up to that. And to come from, instead of, yes, it was an invitation, a little bit less than an obligation, but it was more of a place of love. And we can have that love in our heart. And what I needed to do was to just come back to that place of oneness that draws us forward. And to just remember the oneness in the midst. And to move from that place of whatever may appear to be separation or duality, whether that shows up in our health or our relationships or our checkbook or wherever that may show up. Whatever mindfulness we want to bring to our inner peace, to have that next level, that exalted place of being for something and against nothing. That exalted place of being for the peace that's already ours. That peace walk we're already on that path. So we can find peace and joy and the willingness to be engaged in this place, no matter if it's pleasant, or sometimes there may be some unpleasant things that we get to walk through. And that as we walk through those things, we become in this more pleasant. This is a cool one to keep in your pocket. A present, pleasant space. We can be in the present and have this pleasantry happen right here and now, being as we're full-heartedly engaged. So what I know is that this full-heartedness and this engagement is that which is available to us in our world. And it's because, much like Hafiz says, that the one I love lives inside you. I lean as close to you as I can, no matter who is in my world. I lean as close to you as I can because it is the one divine that lives inside of you, that lives inside of me, that I recognize in you as this affirmative prayer, as this song. We are holding high watch for Inky Kim, and I'm guided and so appreciative to move from sadness into appreciation of what Don Wismer and Sue Colby had sent by email this week, and it will be going out in an e-blast. And so I just want to read this so I don't overlook anything. Sue writes, in my morning meditation, and Don's too, we are both aware of how folks have assumed that Inky is in transition. It is my knowing that as long as Inky has the breath of God in her, she is alive, and her soul is choosing to be here. The highest and best position for all of us is to take is not to assume that appearances say anything. This is not false hope, but respecting the journey of Inky's soul and knowing the truth in God. At any moment, a shift or direction may arise for Inky. So we can best serve Inky's soul by keeping high watch and simply being present and affirming that she experiences the fullness of God's unconditional love, which is completely healing. Whether in this physical realm, whether in this physical realm or in the non-physical. Thank you for listening. Love and high watch. So high watch, prayer vigil, is what speaks through our heart. High watch is this place of the Divine One. It is the Spirit that is within us. It is that which we come with. We come as. We bring this. And we are of service, in essence, to the keynote of our heart. We know that much like love and high watch and listening to that soulful nature, and bring that to A.D. Kim, and bring that to who we're in conversation with, and bring that wherever we go, no matter what, that it is the keynote. It is the prevailing tone. It is the central theme of our life. It is this place of oneness. And in the music, also, keynote is that which the key is based. It is that central place. And it is that keynote to success. So as we move from duality to oneness in our own life, we also contribute to our world. We are of service to our world. We can pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and be this place of service. Be this place where we are for something and against nothing in our world. And imagine having that guidance and listen to this inspiration and the movement and being transported from what the music was shared today, from the prayers, from the poem that exists in our heart, from the music, from the artistry that we all express in this creative expression. So we move as society grows, and what Dr. Snow says is find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his own soul. We're not coming to things because we need something. We're coming to things because we can share who we are and just be in this authentic place. And we will find that we are exalted. We find that we rise up and that we look beyond appearances. And that we have that support as we move from doing to being, as we move in this realization of oneness and wholeness, and as we awaken in the soulful place of being non-attached to those appearances. And we move in love, we move in oneness, and we move in joy. And we jump over here to this line that is jovial. We move into this celebratory, this celebration, this liberating free space. We move over to this line where we walk forward and move from that.